got to talk about Cierra from Love Island. A lot of people are calling for her to be kicked off of the island because a couple of her old Instagram posts have resurfaced. And in these Instagram posts, she uses some anti-Asian slurs. And I gotta say, I'm quite shocked about this because I just, Cierra's like young enough to, it's just so crazy to me. I don't even know what to say about it, right? Like, it's just, really, Cierra, this is what the stuff you were putting out there on the internet? Like, this is the way you were speaking? Like, you're a young girl. I think she's even younger than I am, right? Like, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't she in her 20s or something like that? Like, these words, right? There was an era where people were using these sorts of words, or words like the F word and this and that, like, and the R word and whatnot. Do you guys remember that era? If you're around my age, like, that used to be an era where, unfortunately, it was almost, for lack of a better word, like, normalized to speak like that, right? But Cierra posting on her Instagram, these sorts of things was really, really horrific to see, given that it's just, we know better and we do better and we don't speak this way, right? Like, it's just, I was really shocked by these comments, right? Mind you, these posts were from 2015, and she had posted a photo of herself, and it says still C word even at the top, which I don't know why she would even think to use that word. I don't know what that word has to do with anything, and why she was particularly obsessed with targeting Asians with these words that she uses. Like, I don't know what her deal is. Like, I just saw this story this morning, right? And I'm still kind of like, why would you speak like, that's what I don't get about people with slurs. Like, why? What is the point? What is the purpose? Like, is this funny to you because it didn't make me laugh? Like, is it cute to you? Because I don't find it cute. Like, what is the appeal when it comes to using slurs? I genuinely do not see it. Okay. And that wasn't the only post that she had made. There was another post that she had made on her Instagram story. So this would mean that this was even more recent, because Instagram stories came way after Instagram grid, right? And so she had said, Botox isn't for everyone, but I love it for me. And she was already getting Botox, which means this was an adult, right? As an adult, you're speaking this way. I'm incredibly expressive with my face, and I catch myself frowning for no reason throughout the day when I'm focusing on something or thinking too hard. I can also be a little C word when I laugh/smile. So I love getting a mini brow lift to open up my eyes and get that snatched look. This is not me encouraging, but more so sharing. Oh, Cierra, I don't get it. There are some things that just do not compute to me. Why would you say something like this? Like, why would you even think, like, let me use a slur as I'm promoting Botox. I'm trying to be like an influencer or whatever. Why don't I use slurs? Can somebody help me? Because truly I am drawing a blank on this. I do not understand why she was posting like this. And so I'm seeing some of you guys are asking a little bit about what the word means. This is a slur that some people would use to describe Asian eyes, so to speak, right? And this is something that you used to hear people saying. Like, I remember this being, pretty widely said back in the 90s or the early 2000s, right? So to see that she has been posting this sort of thing, like in the 2010s and potentially even in the 2020s. I don't know when the story was from, but, again, stories are, anyway. All I know is that she was an adult when she was posting this stuff and that she knew better. So I do not understand why she chose to do this not once, but twice. And now people are calling for Cierra to be evicted from the island, similar to Yulisa. And so far, I haven't heard any word about her being evicted or, whether or not production is aware of these resurfaced posts. But I do wonder if it is going to happen. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, but Yulisa, she was kicked off because she used slurs on camera, right? And then they said, no, you're not going to do this, not on our camera, and get the hell out. They got rid of her overnight. Correct me if I'm wrong. I could be wrong, right? So I wonder if that would be the difference. If they do not get rid of Cierra, potentially that might be a reason why. I don't know. And if they also don't, I think that this could also lend credence to a big issue that the Asian community has been raising for a while, which is that racism and slurs against Asian people isn't typically taken as seriously as racism and slurs against other communities. So I worry that this would have a very negative impact on Asian people who watch the show, knowing that she said this sort of thing and seeing that she gets to stay. Meanwhile, someone else who used slurs as well, against a different group, was kicked out. I feel like this could potentially further reinforce that in their minds, and I would hate that for them. Cynthia says, morning, Love Island. I like Cierra. I'm over Alondra. She needs to go. Begging Taylor. She's gorgeous and needs to stop and go. That's what I said in yesterday's episode of the Morning Report. Alondra is too beautiful to be over there crying over Taylor. Taylor, oh my God, are you kidding me? Jesus. By the way, Farrah, you live in Hawaii. Wow. Lucky duck. Oh my goodness gracious. All right. Wow. I'm jealous. So she was in her 20s when she was posting this kind of content. So she knew better. Again, when I was hearing people saying this stuff, and when I was seeing people pulling, their eyes back or their hands and stuff, they were children, right? So Cierra was an adult. So this is just not okay at all. And I hope I properly explained it, Carl. It's a basic, or it's a slur used against Asians. And it's typically due to people typically say that when they want to make fun of their own eyes and relate it to Asian people's eyes and whatnot. And it's just really ridiculous. And it's vile, honestly, at the end of the day. And I do think that she owes a massive, massive, massive apology to Love Island viewers and to the public after all of this has resurfaced. And, please don't start your apology. Good morning, Michelle. Please don't start your apology with, oh, I did this 10 years ago or 5 years ago. Like I've grown. No, just own it. Don't deflect. Own it. Right. Minnie says, is that on her Instagram now? How do these casting directors not vet these people out? Yeah, apparently that one is still live on her IG. And then somebody, the post, and then somebody had screenshotted the IG story. Right. And I agree that this is disgusting. She wrote that like she was trying to, exactly, like you're acting like you're already an influencer and you're over here using slurs. Like you think that's going to get you brand deals? You think that's going to get you fandom and whatnot? Like that's crazy. Absolutely insane. And that's what I was wondering too, Acacia. I don't think she is. I think she's Latina, but she seems to have this weird like hatred or vendetta against Asian people. And it's really not okay. Kara says, Yulisa rightfully got sent home. We need to keep that same energy for Cierra. Racism should be condemned regardless of the race. And I completely agree with you on that. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how they handle this situation. And I really do hope that they do get rid of her. You do have to keep that same energy. And, again, the Asian community has been saying for a while that racism against them and slurs against them have been overly normalized. They're seen as a very pacifist and passive community, and that people, given these like terrible stereotypes that they have about them, people feel like they could trample all over them and speak about them any which way. So I think that this is the moment for Love Island producers to stand with them, right? And to say that this is not okay. This is not acceptable at all. Right. King Carl's asking. Yeah, no. So she's Latina. According to Ali, she is Puerto Rican. So I really do not understand. Right. Like it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And so I'm very sad to hear that this is the way that she's been posting on her social media. If this is how she openly posts on her social media, I wonder what she's actually like, with her friends, right? Like if this is her censoring herself, or maybe she doesn't even, there's no way she doesn't know it's a slur though. Jaleesa, really? Oh my goodness gracious. It's just, honestly, the whole thing is really, really sad. Right. So it looks like a lot of you guys think that she needs to be evicted. And I agree. And I think that Austin needs to be evicted as well. I still can't even remember who TJ is. Sorry, y'all. Right. And same here, Crystal. I do not get it. It is just so freaking lame. And you know what? I don't care what community you're from. Just slurs in general are so lowbrow and just so ew. Like anytime I hear anybody use any kind of slur, I'm like, oh God, like cringe. K Carr says, and why are they not properly vetting these people? We have two racists, an Andrew Tate supporter, a Trump supporter. Whoever is finding these people needs to do a better job before bringing them on. You know, did you guys read that study that said that the younger generation is getting like more and more towards incel culture, towards, you know, the hard right wing and stuff? Like, listen, I guess this is an illustration of how slim pickings it has gotten and how bad that new generation is. No offense to the youngins over here. Double E says this is the issue when they, but this mini internet celebrity on here shows and pass them off as normal people, but these shows are full of narcissists. Exactly. And unfortunately, it seems like that's what they seek out from maximum drama, right? People with like terrible, terrible character.